Boom. Boom. There we go. Been a while since I've done one of these. It's been a couple of weeks now anyway. Like 2 or 3 weeks. Well, it's a solo one. It's been a lot longer than that. How we all doing? How we all doing? I just needed something to kind of have as the thumbnail / title. I know we're talking about AJ Usyk, who we think the network is going to be. But realistically, we're going to talk about whatever. Obviously previewing Chisora versus Pulev 2 this weekend. I'm not the most optimistic that fight's going to be good. To be honest with you, I can't see that fight really taking off, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. I just can't see that fight taking off. We'll get a few people in the building, and then we'll go and we'll see what everyone's talking about. Of course, we have Ali Drew first. Always Ali Drew. Always. Davis second. Big up. Big up to Jamie. Big up to you, man. Getting closer to 4K, man. I think you're into the you're less than 100 away from 4K now, mate. And big up, you've been doing some good work. The Mark McSale video was really good. A big up on that's doing good numbers. So hopefully that carries on, and that can hopefully get you over 4K. Hopefully by the end of the week, man. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But big up to you. Everything is good, mate. Hope everything's good with you as well. Chisora getting KO'd. You know something, mate? I'm going to do a preview and prediction for that. Probably not tomorrow, probably Thursday, Friday. And I worry about Chisora at this stage in his career. I really do. I mean, once the punch resistance starts to go, which it kind of seems like it is going from Chisora now, you do kind of worry. And I just kind of wonder why. Yeah, I don't know. They're saying that Pulev's never been the biggest puncher in the world. He is accurate with the jab, I'll give him that. But at this stage in Chisora's career, I mean, see, Pulev hasn't looked the best as of late. But that's more down to age. In terms of him taking beatings, 2 beatings in his whole career, 6 years apart. So it's not like he's taking extreme beatings back to back to back to back. So, no wait and see. He's got the bag, ain't he? Yeah, he don't have the bag. Tyen Boot can say that all he wants, but yeah, we definitely don't have that. A big up to David, big up to G-Man every time. Nice to see you here, man. Locked in. Big up. Nice to see your channel grow, bro. It's crazy, isn't it, mate? Like, I think, what was it, like 520 subs I got last month? Crazy. Doing good numbers, man. I'm not complaining. Look, I think once I see that 10K mark, it'll really be a box ticked off. Be another box ticked off. And obviously then it doesn't stop you. You keep pushing it on. And, being at that press conference this weekend and doing that bit of work, being in the media, so to speak, that kind of made it, how do I say it? Like, it made you want it even more. Made you want to do that full time more because you get a taste of it. And it's just like, oh, this is crazy. I can see how if it was your full-time job, you would really be, more inclined to kind of just out of the way. I'm getting the interview first. I can see how that happens, definitely. So I see how people like from Seconds Out and Behind the Glove and IFL and Boxing Social, I can see where they're coming from. They're like, we get first dibs because they're making a living out of that. Whereas me, I was there just for the fun of it, Getting the interviews was just a bonus. But look, we'll definitely do more. We'll see what we can get into, and we'll see the pricing of it as well, because it ain't cheap. It's not cheap. You can get decent deals. And obviously, I didn't plan on doing that last week. It was a kind of last-minute thing. I just kind of got word on Monday last week, and I was like, okay, well, I've got it now, so let's see how we do. G-Man is the man from Andrew. Big up, man. 80 away, mate. When is it so close? When it's so close. Do you know what? I'm like that as well. It's like the worst is from like 900. The 900 on any kind of 1,000 is always the worst. You always hope that that's nice and quick. Thankfully for me, it was quick. But it's always the worst because it's there. Like, it's nearly there. It's just that little push to get it from, say, like in my case, a 7 to an 8. In your case, a 3 to a 4. It's just that last push, and that's where you're kind of hoping that. I always hope that when I'm nearer to a next milestone, that there's always a lot to talk about and there's a lot of news, so we can kind of push it over a little bit quicker. That's Pierce, big up. Oh yeah, big yeah. We'll be talking about this, and I'll definitely do it to be a midweek report tomorrow. Thoughts on Shields versus Marshall and Bumgardner versus Meyer prediction? I'm going with Shields on points and Bumgardner by KO. Well, I agree with you on one, and I don't agree with you on the other. So me and you are in, you know, we're in there in terms of Bumgardner by KO. I think she'll stop Michaela Meyer as well. I think she will. I think Bumgardner's a terrific fighter. She really is. In terms of Shields Marshall, I've got Savannah Marshall winning that fight. Probably by late stoppage. Probably. But I'm happy it's not on pay-per-view. You know, I thought it was going to be on pay-per-view, and it's not. Of course, we'll probably do a watch-along for that. It's a good one, so we'll probably end up doing one for that. I'm looking forward to this fight, mate. I am. I think this is going to be a good fight. I can't help but feel Savannah Marshall wins it. I think having Peter Fury in her corner will help exponentially because he has such a good boxing brain and he has such a good understanding of the game that he'll have been working out a plan for the last, 2 years, maybe more, about how they're going to take on Clarissa Shields. It's not going to be a quick kind of thing like, okay, now we're focusing on Shields. I'm sure he's been looking at her fight. He's been assessing what she does. And Savannah Marshall definitely will have the size advantage. Savannah Marshall is huge for 160. I mean, she is massive at that weight. So I think Savannah Marshall is going to take that, mate. I really do. Diane jokes aside, you're killing it. Maybe watched for such a long time. You and Hatman go to boxing channels. Yes, man. Big up. So it's crazy when you get mentioned along Hatman. It's crazy that like he's had me on his channel as well. It's crazy. I mean, just it's weird. Like I remember when I was at that show on Saturday. About this time 4 years ago, I was at the Frampton. What was the guy's name? The guy was so forgettable. Was he Australian? He might have been Australian. Can't remember his name. Luke Jackson or something like that. And where I was sitting, it was full blow of press row, where all the media sitting. I was like, how I wouldn't love to sit there. And boom, 4 years later, new curtains needed when you hit 10K. You know, I always say I'll change them, and I didn't buy them, but yeah. Has just got through. Cam Norris just got through Wimbledon at the semis. Novak Djokovic next for him. I hope Djokovic is big up to Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic, I think, is going to take Wimbledon this year. Novak's a good player. Very good player and a stand-up guy. Okay, I'm here too. Looks like we just started. Yeah, we just started, mate. One Punch Mickey. Great name. Evening G, big up. Malcolm Tan says, how did I get the press conference pass for the Joe Joyce fight? Oh, mate, a couple of weeks ago now. It was when the fight was first announced. Well, on the Queensbury's website. And I forget whereabouts it is, but it's on the website. It says, you filled this out for a press pass. And I actually filled it out, but it never even gave me a confirmation. It never sent me a message to say, yes, it's been seen. It didn't send me anything. So I thought it didn't go through. And then they emailed me last Monday saying, that's accepted. Here are the events. Let me know if you want to go. And yeah, that's that. So that was that. And literally fight night, you go into the box office, you go to the media corner, and that was that. You know, so it was crazy. It was crazy how easy it was. It really was. So yeah, I was chuffed with that. When you mentioned that you got past, I wondered how that proves that you were press. Well, I just signed it up and named the channel, and that was the end of that. It was straightforward enough. Do you ever get the feeling that AJ might manage to beat Usyk somehow? I think he finishes him if he can hurt him. Oh yeah, I certainly could see a situation where AJ can definitely beat Oleksandr Usyk. I mean, I've done 3 reasons why I think AJ can beat. That's the same picking him. A lot of people got it, mistaken, thought when I made that video that I was picking AJ. I never said I was picking AJ in that video once, but I can see how we can beat him. Personally, I don't think he will, but for sure, AJ has the power to change the fight. If he changes a few things up, as I think he should, he definitely can. So, look, Usyk is favourite and rightfully so, but that's not to say AJ can't win. It's not like you're looking at AJ and thinking, there's no way. Of course there's a way. Of course there's a way. But do I think he will? No, not particularly. I can't see it, but they're proven wrong. IG man, great interview with the Joyce fight. Yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun, being there, and Joyce is a unit. That's what I will say. I mean, I expected a big guy, but when I see him in person, I was like, wow, you are a unit. I was like, damn, this guy's big. So yeah, it was a crazy experience. That's what I'll say. It was crazy. It really was. So hopefully many more to come. Don't know if I'll get to any more this summer. Just as in like from July to the end of August. I don't think I will. Maybe, you never know. But for sure, I'd like to get to another one anyway before the end of the year. Hopefully. You can get Prosperity if you know how to plug it. Used to write for boxing sites back in the day. Boxing needs the cover it can get. Yeah, it can. And like, you at the end of the way it is now, right? With YouTube being the way it is, that I think if you have even a kind of semblance of a following, like, I mean, I've seen channels with less than 1,000 subs get media passes for matchroom shows. So they want as much eyes on it as they can get, and it reach as many avenues as they can get. So the more you could alt media, if you want to use, for want of a better word, alt media, the better. It's all well and good having Sky and BT there, but like, is everyone going to watch them? What about the guys who can spread, the word out in other ways? Have you seen the Briadas fight yet? Still Woods versus Conlon fight of the year, but I'd rather have that second. Yeah, the Australian guy's name, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but he looked very good in there. He looked very good. I seen the X-rays where he has like a broken jaw. I seen the X-ray. He got that in the second round. So, very impressive that he was able to fight that way with that injury. And, he was piecing Myers Briedis up for the first few rounds. I did wonder about Briedis at this stage, when he was calling out Jake Paul. It looked bad, but then kind of more you think about it, you kind of think, well, why is he calling Jake Paul out? Obviously he wants the payday, but why? Is that an indication that he knows himself? Maybe he feels it in his training. Hang on a sec, things are getting harder now. And maybe that's why. Big up to MVG, LG man. Eubank versus Liam Smith next. What do you think? Yeah, I suspect that we're going to get that fight next. I'd say we will, mate. I'd say we will. I think that Liam Smith is not as basic as someone like an Avni Yildirim in terms of how he comes forward. But Liam Smith can be hit. He can be tagged. He's always shown a reasonably decent chin. He's definitely not chinny. But I think that style for, you see, Eubank Jr., very much throughout his career, when he's had more say, I think when he was with PBC had a bit more kind of say in where he wanted to go, or where they were trying to direct Eubank, because they were trying to direct him for a fight with Charlo, which never happened. He even fought Korobov on his undercard. Whereas when Eubank was fighting on, ITV, where he was kind of doing what he was doing with the shows, it was Quinlan, fairly basic. It was Abraham, basic, just pressure fighter at that stage. You fight in spurts, square shoulders, tailor-made for Eubank. Yildirim made for Eubank. Liam Williams, good fighter, but, that style, Eubank loves that style. So as long as he gets kind of, I think, that style, he's happy. I think that's what Sky are looking to maybe do to get these pay-per-views. Someone like Yalabek, a southpaw who can punch and is a good long-range boxer. Lara, people like that will be a nightmare for Eubank. Yeah, I agree. Really should be 3-minute rounds. I'm assuming you're talking about the females. Just going to read this out real quick here. Big up to William. Thanks for the £5, mate. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Evening, G-Man. Going to Dublin from the UK. Going to Dublin from the UK for the Galway game. Flight lands at 8:30 a.m. Anything you'd recommend to fill the day? I would definitely go to the Guinness Storehouse. It's a good place to go. It's good fun. You get a good view of the city as well. It's weird, right? Dublin City, I never really done many tourist things. I would say go to the Guinness Storehouse is fun. it is fun for, you know, a tour. You know, the College Green and places like that. You go down O'Connell Street, Henry Street, there's good shopping down there. And they're all quite closely knit in town, in Dublin City. So I definitely recommend going there. Whereabouts in Dublin are you staying in terms of hotels, mate? I appreciate the £5. I appreciate that a lot. Because Dublin has some really, really good restaurants to go to as well. That's the thing about London. I never know where to eat. Like, I mainly just stuck to Nando's the last few days because I never know where it's good and where it's not. Even the G-Man, Hope Marshall can chin, the cocky American, and the term "quote" can be forgotten. I suspect Savannah Marsh is going to win that fight. Is Savannah Marsh truly 6 foot? I never really paid that much attention, to be honest, what her height was. To be honest, I knew she was taller by women's standards, but there's no real reference because she's so much taller than most other females. It's an unpopular view, but women's boxers are generally inferior to males. Never quite got the fuss needed to promote it than originally. One problem I think that they're doing now, and I think it could be counterintuitive, is when they shove it down people's throats. Now, I've no problem with female fights being on the cards, but when you have people saying, you know, oh, you need to watch this and you need to, and you know, some people in the alt media, not like YouTubers, but just people who don't even watch boxing, saying that you're misogynistic if you don't like female boxing. I mean, that's just going to turn people off it. You know, that's just the worst thing you could do. It's like, let things just go naturally. It's like that in anything. Just let it run naturally. It'll get to where it needs to get. But when you start coming down and chucking it down people's throats and saying things like that, it's just you're depreciating the purpose. That's just in my opinion on that. Hey G-Man, appreciate your channel. Have weirdly got Pulev as a favourite over Chisora. I fancy Chisora by... You've really got Pulev as a favourite over Chisora. I fancy Chisora by 9-10 and 10-round stoppage. I thought you were saying you fancy Pulev there for a sec, mate, over Chisora. Yeah, I think that Derek Chisora is probably not going to win. Will he get a stoppage? I mean, Chisora throws wild ones. And you never know if one of them lands. I'm sure he could hurt Pulev, definitely, 100%. But I wouldn't be picking him personally. Does Joe Joyce look bigger on? Oh yeah, man. I mean, he is. Oh yeah, I was shocked by how big he is. He is huge. Now people say that he, you know, he looks this way on camera and he's probably not as big. He is massive, and you can tell that like he's proper, just natural. You can tell that guy probably, if he does do weights, he does very little. You know, you can tell if he does do weight, he does very little. I'll just read this real quick. Big up to Daz for the £3. The Dublin bus and Guinness tour is excellent. And actually, by the way, if you are someone who does like Guinness, I'm not really a Guinness drinker, to be honest with you, but if you are someone who does like that, I mean, you won't really get better than in Dublin City. You know, you just won't. I mean, like, some of the Guinness you'll get in other places, like especially if you're outside of Ireland, it's just garbage. Now, I'm not a big fan of Guinness anyway. Like, I would drink it if there was if I was having drinks. I don't normally drink too much, but if there was drinks and there was things that I like as opposed to Guinness, I get them over it. If there was stuff like Budweiser, Heineken, and stuff like that, course, then I get Guinness if that was the only options, because those drinks are just. Ugh. For the most part, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't be a big Guinness drinker. For the most part. Where are we at? You've bad feeling they're going to rob Pulev. Well, one judge tried to last time out, and that was in. Now I know Pulev's not from Germany, but that was on a Sauerland show in Germany, and Pulev was promoted by Sauerland at the time, and so was Chisora. One judge did try to rob him in that fight. You know, he scored that. I can't remember what judge it was, but he scored it for Chisora. If you've ever the first fights, I was going to say if you've ever seen it, but I wouldn't really recommend you go watch it. It's not the most compelling viewing. It's really not. It's not very entertaining. But Pulev won it. He won it clearly. Like, he just really held and jabbed his way to a 12-round points decision, split decision. but he won it clearly. So when you have a judge giving it to Chisora, I couldn't see that. Couldn't see that at all. Now Pulev's the away fighter. It does kind of make you wonder what might happen, because it happens across the board in boxing. I'm not going to say it's a matchroom thing. It's across the board in boxing. We see some bizarre scorecards. So would I rule it out? No. But probably if Chisora does what he did last time, he should get the job done. That's why I don't think this fight's going to be good, because Pulev, he beat Derek Chisora by really just jabbing and grabbing, really. It's not like you could say now that, Chisora or that Pulev's legs are gone, his foot speed's gone, his hand speed gone. He really just beat him with the jab and just grabbing. So you can still do that again. I was surprised how often Joyce gets clapped when engaged and can't keep relying on his chin. What do you think, G-Man? Yeah, I agree. He does rely on that chin a bit too much, but I do think that he brings him. See, he fights with defense in mind when he knows there's a serious threat from the opponent, i.e. Daniel Dubois. If he was in there with someone like a Joe Parker, with someone like Dubois again, just for argument's sake, like a Deontay Wilder, best believe he wouldn't be as forthcoming with his chin in the air. He wouldn't be. He'd probably stick the jab on a bit more. He'd probably box a bit more. So that's what I got to say about Joyce there. I think, look against Bermain Stavern. When he fought Bermain Stavern, he had the chin wide in the air. Stavern was tagging him in the first round. But Joyce saw no threat there. And there really wasn't a threat in that fight. So that's what I got to say on Joyce and the chin and all that. Like, yes, he leaves it out, but I think he does it because he knows, all right, I'm good with these guys. I agree that Djokovic is a bridge too far for Cam Norris. Djokovic in 4 unless a miracle happens. Yeah, like on form and on just everything, Djokovic should win that. But you never know. Like, strange things happen in tennis. Strange things happens. But like on form, Djokovic, and at his best, Djokovic should win that. Should win it. Pick up the FS, it's John. So impressed with the interviews over the weekend. Not saying you're unprofessional on here, but I was surprised how well and natural you sounded doing the interviews. I was flipping shitting myself doing them interviews, mate. Believe you me. That sounded natural, but believe me, I mean, like, that was the kind of I was fucking shitting myself talking to them guys, because it was just something I'm not used to doing, and especially being there in person and being at like your first event. Like, I was bricking it, like, and I didn't have any questions. Kind of like, I had questions planned, but once I started talking, they kind of went out the window, and I let like people like Joe open with things, and I was just thinking, okay, he's talked about this, so I'm going to follow it up with this. So the questions I planned, they went out the window. Robert Karshen, I know who the fighter is. Versus Boatsi next, I'm hearing. Can see Karshen with an upset. He's pretty good. I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but I know the fighter you're on about. What happened to Dmitry Bivol? So I wonder, is there an issue there? I thought we're going to get Boatsi versus Bivol. I wonder if Canelo has something in place where Bivol can't fight again, or the only fight Bivol can take after or before Canelo is Canelo, if you know what I mean. So maybe he's hoping to keep Bivol inactive. I don't know. Or maybe Boatsi and his team, because they've been very slow moving Boatsi. Maybe they feel as though, look, he needs another fight. He needs a step up. Although saying that, that's a risky fight for Boatsi. Would you really, if you have a world title shot there, would you really risk a fight like that and not just go straight into your world title fight? I mean, I don't know. Chisora will win one more fight that he's not supposed to. Tragically, it'll probably put him in the ring with Joe Joyce next. I hope they don't. I really hope they don't do that, mate. I really hope they don't do it. That to me would be, I don't like that. I really hope they don't do it. Fantasy boxing, Prime Ali versus Prime Lewis. That's an interesting, good fight. I could see Muhammad Ali's movement given Lennox Lewis problems. But Lennox Lewis, whenever he needed the box long, he could. I I'd probably favour Ali slightly on points because of the speed. I'd probably favour Ali just to win a points decision over Lennox Lewis. I can't see either guy touching down. Great to see the channel grow. And big up the top textbook boxing. Big up to you, man. Thanks for the £3. As I said, every little bit helps. Every little bit on here helps. £3, whatever. Big up. Because I'll tell you one thing. I didn't plan on doing that event, and it burned a hole in my pocket to trains constantly up and down from Westminster to Wembley. I'm getting the flight home in the evening, as the cheapest hotel on Saturday was 200, and it was basic. It can't always be like that. Yeah, Dublin is dear, man. Dublin is really, really, really... Well, Ireland's the dearest country in Europe at the minute. And that's not a joke. That's fact, that they're the dearest country in Europe at the minute. It's, it's not cheap. It really isn't cheap. And... yeah, 200 quid will probably get you barely a travel lodge. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, the price. Now, I've never stayed in a hotel in Dublin, but I know, having looked at some of the hotels in Dublin just for the crack, that, yeah, they are crazy dear. Crazy. Like London wouldn't compare. Like, I mean, they're crazy, the price. And yes, Irish Guinness is superior to Barman. Even Shamrock had a great afternoon in Dublin in 2009, watching the EPL football and on the Guinness. Yeah, good cinemas in Dublin as well. Yeah, cinemas are fine. And yeah, you will get a really, really good pint. And especially kind of more so in the, like if you go up to the kind of rural areas of Dublin where there's like farmland, where I'm from basically, there you'll get the best, because there it's just literally old men pubs where you walk in and they've got a fire going, an actual fire. Yeah, you'll get the best in there because it's literally farmers just drinking Guinness left, right, and centre. As I say, the more you see people in a bar drinking Guinness, the better it is. And if the foam sticks to the glass, you know it's a good one. That's what they say. If you're drinking the Guinness and the foam sticks to the glass, you know you got a good one there. Apparently, Sky got the rights to the AJ Usyk fight. Now that's going to be interesting. So I'm just a bit confused as to why. Like, I don't know the ins and outs of it. Maybe there's more to it than that. But why you would get AJ on a deal with the Zone, but you wouldn't get the AJ Usyk fight? So essentially, could it be so Sky? Because Adam Smith didn't sound too sad. Well, he didn't sound like you'd expect Adam Smith to be like, "Oh, we lost AJ." It was a kind of almost like, "Well, we're good." You know, in their mind, it's kind of like we'll get the AJ Usyk fight, and then we've made it. AJ is the Zones, and if he loses, he's definitely the Zones. Big up to E-Machine. Where's the piss bottle? It's over there. G-Man, what was the F1 soundbite you used in one of your old boxing videos? Oh, yeah, that was Martin Brundle and Murray Walker in the 98 Monaco Grand Prix, where one of the drivers tried to flick spin the car, and he ended up beaching it on a sidewalk. Yeah, that was funny. Did you see Salah's interview when he said Joe Joyce made Hunter quit in sparring? I did see that. I didn't see the full interview, but I did see that. And that's interesting. And that's really, really interesting that that's the case. Someone like Joe Joyce is against Michael Hunter. You think Michael Hunter's speed would be a big factor, would actually benefit Michael Hunter, because we've seen people like Brian Jennings, who is not as fast as them. Brian Jennings not slow, but he's not as fast as Michael Hunter. And that's interesting. You see, I wonder. There's a few things about Michael Hunter I wonder. When I look at him, right, I see a fighter who, if he could get rid of somebody, because he could probably still do cruiserweight if he got rid of some of that fat. I wonder if that's what's causing him to maybe slow down a bit. Is he taking his training serious? Is he getting... Did maybe the thriller payday is just get rid of the hunger, per se? Evening, gents. Good to see you. Got home fine, G-Man. Big up, rat. Every time, man. Big up. Yeah, we got home fine. It was good. It was a good few days, man. It was fun. Where are we? Unpopular opinion, Vitaly Klitschko is underrated. Yeah, I mean, I think because Klitschko lost to Lennox Lewis, had that loss against Chris Bird, and to be fair, at the time Klitschko went through his reign at heavyweight, there was really nobody there, you know, other than Vladimir. They were never going to fight. So, you know, he beat who he needed to, and he never really needed to get out of second gear in a lot of them fights. But Vitaly, hypothetically, I know it'll never happen, but if Vitaly and Vladimir ever fought, I'd have picked Vitaly every day of the week. Every day of the week. Even though you could say Vladimir is probably the more naturally gifted out of the two in terms of he had the more power, he had great technique, great balance. Vitaly was the fighter of the two. He really was. He was the warrior of those two. Big up G-Man. Janibek is the future of middleweight. He may very well be. I was impressed with his fight over Danny Dignam. Real impressed. Yo, G-Man, well done for the weekend. Some really good interviews. Big up. Thanks, mate. Big up to you, man. Really want a night out in Dublin. Your night out in Dublin is expensive. That's what I will say, mate. But it is good fun. If Katie Taylor's next fight is going to be in Dublin, which I don't see any reason now why it won't be, then there you go. There you go, man. There you go. But yeah, Dublin is fun for a night out. I never really go into Dublin City per se. I go there on occasions. Where I'm from, it's good enough. There's enough places to go. But yeah, Dublin City is crazy on a night. When it gets good, it's good. It'd be interesting to see what AJ does if he loses the rematch. Maybe a series of DAZN cash out fights and then retirement. If AJ loses, I'd be very surprised if DAZN didn't offer good money to Dillian Whyte for that rematch. Would that rematch still sell? Well, you'd probably still do the O2, definitely. Definitely. Wouldn't do a stadium, but you do the O2, yeah. But who else then? You know? I mean, that's the question. It's a big kind of question what will happen if AJ loses, what DAZN will do. I'm sure they've got contingency plans made just in case. If AJ loses versus Usyk on Sky, it might be his last world title fight, so what's the point in signing a multi-fight deal with DAZN? Yeah. Look, I'm kind of scratching my head as well, mate, thinking, what is the story with this? It could be that DAZN have a contingency plan in place. I don't know. But for me, it's a bit similar. I'm kind of looking and thinking, well, what if he does lose? What if he loses? Not just what if he loses. What if he loses bad? Like, it's a real case of it's quite easy for Usyk in this one and he stops AJ. It's like, what then? Like DAZN, it's getting bigger and hopefully it continues to get bigger. But, like, would they have the same pulling power with AJ that they would have had if he beat Usyk? If he loses, a lot of fans, we saw it after the Ruiz fight, that they were just like, oh, he's lost now, see you later. And if he loses again to Usyk badly, to me, it's a head scratcher. But as I said, I'm sure they have a contingency plan. I'm sure they do. What do you think of Florian Marku? Do you think if Florian Marku's opponent is in Albania, Stephen Hawking has better head movement than Joe? Who's Marku fighting? I haven't seen it. Let's have a look. See on BoxRec right here, real quick. Who I know he's meant to be doing the National Stadium over there. Florian Marku. Let's see who he's in there with next. Nothing on BoxRec, but yeah, I can't imagine they're still going to match Florian Marku. Straightforward enough, I'd imagine. But he is huge in Albania. Like, people are saying he's going to be doing a national stadium over there. Oh, I well believe it, man. That guy has a crazy following. Hunter is a quitter. Frank Sanchez called out Joe Joyce. I mean, stylistically, I think that's a very tricky fight for Joe Joyce. Frank Sanchez may be older than he's definitely older than he says he is. No way he's 30. Hell no. But he is fast. He's talented. Very talented. He's with Goosen now, which is a bit of a head scratcher. Maybe he wants to work and be a bit more offensive. Maybe. But I don't know. So he looked fine, I thought. The zone probably felt that AJ is the best move in terms of money, whether he wins or loses. You see, I get that from that sense, but it depends on the nature of the loss. Like, you know, how bad could it be? You know, how many fans will turn, because a lot of them have gone to Fury now. Because, you know, a lot of them fans, they're not really fans, they're just kind of glory seekers. Whoever's winning, that's who we're going with. Friend of mine spars Joe Joyce, Frank Ignotus, 3-0, heavyweight prospect. He said Joyce's power is serious and he is extremely technically savvy despite his appearance. And I well believe that, mate. 100% I'd well believe that. You know, Joe Joyce is... It's bizarre when you watch him. You see someone so crude, but he knows what he's doing. He has it there. He has it in abundance. Do you know what they might do for Joyce next? It just struck me there, actually. In 2020, before he ended up fighting Dubois, you may remember in January of 2020, he was scheduled to fight Marco Huck. Would not shock me if they try and do a fight like that in the interim for Joyce. Frank Sanchez calling out a lot of boxers. You see him actually getting a fight with one of them names he called out. Maybe, but unlikely. He's very dangerous. He's not got a massive fan base. He really is a who needs you fighter. I mean, he's extremely dangerous, Frank Sanchez. He's a real dark horse in that heavyweight division. I don't care what anyone says. He's he's a real dark horse. So it's a real case if you fight him, you beat him. It's like, who is Frank Sanchez? But you lose to him. Well, you lost. Why are you losing to Frank Sanchez? AJ wins, they throw Fury, AJ loses, they go White then Wilder. Yeah, they could do the Wilder fight, all right. I'd still pick Deontay Wilder even now. Sanchez called out Joyce. Do I follow GAA? Not really, mate. Not really. I mean, like, I like it when Dublin do well, and they normally do well, but I played it when I was a kid, but it's not really a sport I got into. I preferred soccer. I always preferred soccer to GAA, and obviously I preferred F1 and boxing over all of them, to be honest with you. But yeah, like, obviously, like, I like the party when Dublin win the All Ireland, because they normally do win. They didn't win last year, but they normally do win. So it's always fun when that happens. But I never really followed it religiously like that. Big up to Sean Hodge, caught alive. Haven't caught alive in ages. Big up, man. Big up to you, man. Every time. Natural crews are always going to struggle with the lore of 220 paydays. Make you recognise the achievement of Holyfield, Usyk, and Hay to a lesser extent. But he sold his soul. David Hay always wanted to be heavyweight champion. Always. Who do you think will win the All Ireland? I hope Dublin win it, mate. I hope Dublin win it. I think they're playing Kerry this weekend. If they win that, then you got to give them. You got to fancy them for it then. Yeah, fingers crossed Dublin win it. And who do I don't follow it like that close, but hopefully Dublin win it. AG, man, I think they are making a mistake making they're making it all female, are they? Oh, I don't know what that's going to do. I didn't realize that. I like the female fights, but to do a full card, I think will impact the viewers. Well, do you remember what they did a couple of years ago when Katie Taylor, Terry Harper, and Rachel Ball all fought on the Matchroom card? They made that free for everyone. So they streamed it on YouTube, and Sky, which is normally subscription-based, they gave that free to everyone. So they did that because obviously it boosted the viewers. I wonder will they do that? I didn't realize it was all female. If that's the case, I don't know how good that's going to do. I mean, the main event is good, and I like Myers Bumgardner, but it's all female. I don't know. I don't know about that. It might sound bad, but honestly, I would have put Marku on there as co-main because it would have built the stadium. Like, if the stadium, say, is struggling, getting the Marku or someone on there, that'll boost that up. Should people visit Ireland only for the Gearney? No. There's loads to see in Ireland, man. There's loads of nice things to see. There's loads of nice counties as well. In other sport news, England chased 378 to beat India in the 5th test, an epic effort. I want to see Ireland in more test matches. They work hard to get there. I've never really got into cricket, never followed it. I know what you're talking about. And funny enough, where Ireland play cricket is only about 50 minutes away from me. But yeah, I never a sport I really got into, to be honest with you. Never a sport I got into was cricket. It's not really that big over here. It's getting bigger, but it was never really a big sport. Kamil Sakalovsky will beat Johnny Fisher. Johnny Fisher, his opponent is still to be announced. Him against Sakalovsky right now, that's a tricky one. Johnny Fisher looked he looked all right his last one, but there was a few shaky moments there. So him against Sakalovsky, I wouldn't do it right now if I was matchmaking him. Frank Sanchez, the new Luis Ortiz. I want one of them fake passports to say I'm 29. Yeah, I mean, like, do you remember the footballer? He played for Lazio. a few years ago now, and he said he was 18. And I mean, like, he had wrinkles and everything. Remember, what was his name? He played for Lazio, I'm fairly sure. And I think he was African, but it was clear like he was not 18. I mean, anyone could tell this guy wasn't 18. He wasn't even in his 20s, probably. Good content last week, G-Man. Any ideas which show we were going to next? Maybe Jeddah. I would love to go to the Jeddah show, but money-wise, I think it's like $1,000 to fly over. Ain't gonna happen. And then it's like accommodation. You can get some accommodation for like $400 for the week, which is not too bad. But yeah, I can't afford to fly over to Jeddah and do all. Well, I can, but it's gonna leave me absolutely skint. So Jeddah, put it on the back burner for now, mate. I'd love to go to it, I would, but just can't do it this one. Just can't do this one. Next one I go to, Pens. Obviously, I wouldn't mind going to Conor Benn's next one. Depends on who they announce. And I'd love to go. I'd love to get the media pass for Yard versus Beterbiev. That one definitely. That one would be like right at the top of my queue. That'd be like that. If I could pick one in the UK anyway, that'd be the top one. I'd love to go to that one. Joyce destroyed Dubois' eye with the jab. He's legit power. Oh, you can see that. You know, look at him versus Joe Hanks. Look at the slow-mo replay of the left hook, and you see how Joe Hanks' face is just twisted to one side. You can tell that guy can punch. The zone seemed desperate since the first UK pay-per-view with the YouTube. Yeah, I really... look, I understand kind of why they're doing it because they know that's where the money is, but yeah. I never heard of the other guy. I know who KSI is, but I never, ever, ever, ever heard of the other guy. Who was it? Alex Wasabi or something like that his name is. Never, ever, ever heard of him. Never heard of him. No idea who he is. Honestly wonder if Joyce avoids where... Oh, if he can take Wilder's right hand away, I mean, he'll have some serious success. Bit of an off one, but are you going to Conlon versus Mariaga? At the minute, no. But you never know. That could change. As it stands, no. Not at the minute. But as I said, that could all change. Who knows? Belfast is much, much, much easier to get to. Kenny in or Kenny out? That's a good question. You know, he managed Bows, which is a football team in Ireland. League of Ireland... You know, League of Ireland is a horrible division to watch because they're very defensive. It's very slow-paced. Kenny kind of is a bit more attacking, but the Irish team is just... I don't know. I mean, it's almost... Well, I don't think most of them do. It's like those players don't want to play there. And I think they're going to struggle to find a real manager to sort that team out. I don't know if Kenny is the guy for it, but give him a bit of time. Give him a bit of time. He has an understanding of things. Do you think Conlon has a chance of winning any world title? Not particularly, no. If there's a weak world champion comes along, then yeah. But at this minute, his goal of being a three-weight world champion, I think he'd be lucky to win one. Who do you think will win? Jake Paul, Tommy Fury? I got Jake Paul, mate. I got Jake Paul. I think he said he's till Wednesday to confirm this fight's good to go. Gonna go out on the limb and say I think we do get this fight. But we do get Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. I'm gonna go out on the limb and say that. G-Man, do you have any insight into Felix Cash? He seems like a legit hot prospect who disappears. Yeah, Felix Cash is a weird one for me. He's obviously better than I gave him credit for originally, but I still just... For me, I think he's improving, and he's obviously better than I gave him credit for. But even Eddie Hearn doesn't seem to be kind of really on that type of bandwagon. I'd say he's European, definitely. It's crazy the crowd for Irish GAA matches bigger. Oh yeah, man. Like I mean, like GAA over here is like it's everything to people. It's literally everything to people over here. Is Eddie Hearn spreading himself too thin and in turn losing the majority of his shares in the UK market? No, I think it's inevitable, mate. Like, it's inevitable some other promoters are going to come. Some are going to have a dip in their luck. Some are going to have an increase. I think it's inevitable. I think it's just natural law. Eddie Hearn, like, I like Eddie Hearn, as a character, and I don't think he's that bad a guy. I never met him personally, but I think that maybe he probably put too much stock in his own ability, and he probably didn't really stop and think how good Sky had been in terms of helping to sell, the brand, the marketing, the PR. And I think he got a real reality check when he went to the Zone. Saying that, I hope this, like I've said it before, I'll say it again. I would love, love, love the Zone to not only succeed, but to succeed to such an extent that they make good on their promise and pay-per-view is done. I really hope that's the case. I really do. I think it'd be great for boxing. Have you ever thought about doing some prospect watch videos? Just an idea, mate. Keep the wicked content. You should also set up a cash app so we can donate without feeding the. Yeah, I've thought about that. I never thought about setting the app up, but I know YouTube do that. Yeah, it is a pain. Like, they take 33% of any donation, which is crazy when you think about it. Even for like £3, like you're getting about £1 if even. It's crazy. But in terms of the prospects, yeah, I have thought about it. I have thought about doing that. And look, I've got a lot more ideas for new things on here. Just a case of time, getting stuff ready for it. And, obviously I have an idea for one this coming month. It's not a hype job video. It's the hype job I've just done the last two. It's a documentary type one. We'll stay tuned for that one. But yeah, of course, I've thought about doing other things like that. And we will. We're trying to do at least once a month a kind of documentary-esque type video. So for this month, I've got something planned. For next month, I do as well. And we may pick that up at some other time. But definitely, man, I've got lots of ideas for things that are up and coming. It's not just, I want to make this channel a bit of everything. I don't want to just be reporting on the news and doing watch-alongs. Obviously, I want to get to these events. I want to do these documentary type videos. I want to do a bit of everything. So I don't want to spread myself into one. I don't want one of these guys who's just like, it's only news and reviews. I want to be more than that. I want to do a bit of everything. As someone was saying, spreading themselves too thin. I kind of want to do it. I want to kind of do everything, like a bit of everything in the sport. Can Daniel Dubois? No. Simple, short answer. Nathan Gorman, no. That's a short answer. Short answer. Let's raise a few £100. I would appreciate that. I really would, but I don't know. Can't see it. Joyce had disturbingly every shot power, and that's the thing. He's not a photo finish guy, but can break anyone down. Yeah, that's pretty much what you get with Joyce. He seems like the sort of guy who will he will hurt you with every shot without Wilder-esque, bang, it's over. I'm coming over to watch McKenna versus Jenkins. Oh yeah, Tyrone McKenna. I was wondering I was like, who? Tyrone McKenna. Yeah, I forgot about that. Banking on my boy, of course, but objectively, I'll say McKenna. Yeah, McKenna should probably win that. Does Usyk stop AJ? Does Cattrall beat Taylor? Well, Cattrall has beaten Taylor already. He just didn't get the decision, unfortunately. I think Usyk can. Will he? Possibly. I don't know. Yeah, that Luxembourg, just reading another comment. Jesus Christ. Just before I go on, yeah, that was just. And then they got a 2-2 draw with Belgium, and then they go and lose to Luxembourg. It's like, what the hell? No way Paul beats Fury. He's a fighting man of gypsy heritage. Well, we shall see. I've not been too impressed with Tommy Fury. Who are some good who are the best Irish prospects coming through? Two come to mind, Gary Cully and Paddy Donovan. Paddy Donovan on the Michael Conlon card from Limerick. Definitely a good shout. Definitely been impressed with him. He looks very good, looks very sharp. Welterweight southpaw. His nickname is The Real Deal. And he looked good. I like Paddy Donovan. He looks quite good. He's in a division with Sharks. He's in the welterweight division. But they're probably the two main ones I've been looking at as kind of guys I'm really keen to get a good look at. Because they both look good. Now, Gary Cully. I don't know. Gary Cully, I don't think has a promoter now at this minute, because obviously he was part of the El Chapahan, what stable. MTK, by the way. So I don't think he's signed with anyone. I know he fought on Matchroom on his last card, but I don't think he's actually signed with anyone since then. Charlton versus Azim, who wins? You'll probably give Azim that one. His speed is pretty damn good. Keep up the outstanding work, G-Man. I always love watching your reviews. Big up, man. I love doing the reviews. They're probably my favorite ones to do, to be honest. Are you still going to do the father not like son? Yep. Man, I've got loads of ideas. And yes, that is one that we will look to do. Not this month. As I said, I've got one planned for this month. But yes, the father not like son. I mean, there's so many you could do there. So many. Even a jock just once a month. I'm surprised how you find the time to do that with all the other stuff. With the channel plus a job. Yeah, look, it's not the easiest. It's not the easiest to get time. You know, I do a lot of my research. Like, a lot of my research is just kind of listening and taking notes. So I can do that in the job with just headphones in and just kind of go back and forth. But in terms of like that boxing hype jobs, that was the first one I ever did with a script. And that took a while to write. But it made life so much easier when I was recording. I mean, it made it so much easier having that script at hand. I didn't realize how good it was having that with that script. So I obviously got to start on that. I haven't even started on the script for this one yet. But yeah, I've got a great editor. You know, Dan, who's my editor, he is just, I mean, that guy is brilliant. I'd be lost without him. Because he's a tremendous editor and he's really quick and he's really good at what he does. And yeah, I'd be lost without him. Honestly, like, now you just see what I do here, but I mean, Dan, my editor, I mean, he's the real mastermind behind a lot of the stuff that goes on here. He does great work. Do you think Shalom is capable of making big fight for Sky? Overpaying Olympians is not going to lead to long-term success, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the jury, like, Ben Shalom, I like what he's been doing so far. He's been definitely making some good, he's making right moves in terms of like who he signed and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. If he's overpaying these guys and Sky want pay-per-views, they want to get some new stars. And if Ben Shalom is unable to produce that, I mean, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. I don't know. Ben Shalom doesn't have the draw that Eddie Hearn does. In terms of Eddie Hearn, it's just Eddie Hearn could sell, you know, sand to an Arab. That's the kind of guy he is. You know, I don't know. He definitely doesn't come across as that. Thoughts on the all-female show? I don't think that's a good idea. I like the fight. I love the fight. I like the co-main. But an all-female show, I don't think that's going to work too well. Just in my opinion, I don't think that's going to go well. Did you watch F1's Ferrari race management? It's terrible. Yeah, it's crap. Had science. Yeah, I mean, like, Ferrari, they've always been a bit on the... Ferrari back in Michael Schumacher's days, they were the team who you could always count on to get the strategy nailed. Now, they just don't. They don't get it. They just don't seem to get it. And Red Bull just get it. You know, that they get it. And yeah, look, Ferrari, I don't think anyone's stopping Verstappen this year. I think Verstappen will wrap it up pretty straightforward. I wouldn't even be shocked if Verstappen has it wrapped up by Brazil. Seriously, I think Verstappen's going to, like, if his Red Bull didn't go over them curbs and damage the floor, he would have won that race pretty straightforward. I mean, once he got past, he would have won that race fairly comfortably. So I think that Verstappen, he's good at Austria. He likes Austria. He should take it there. That's this week. So yeah, I think Verstappen has this championship wrapped up. I really do. I really do. Well, not yet. Not yet. I can't put it on there. I can't put that on because it's not yet. Connor Ben says he's got an opponent locked in. I really hope it's not Hooker. I want to see Avanesian or Mean Machine. Yeah, look, I would take Hooker at this stage, mate, to be honest with you. It is a step up. But I'd like Avanesian or Kavalauskas. Kavalauskas is too dangerous. I mean, he is way too big. Has Willie Hutchinson come back since he had that knockout loss? Because if he has, I haven't seen it. I saw his last fight was at Lennox Clark he lost to when he got ironed out. If that's the case, I haven't seen him. Who would you pick between Peterbia versus Ward at 175? I would just edge Andre Ward. Just edge him. I think he'd just take that fight by the skin of his teeth. Chavez, I mean, there you go. I mean, that's just the case in point. I mean, I think kind of people have always said that there have been successful sons who've who've gone after their father, which there has. But I think we're talking about high level. I mean, like, Michael Hunter Senior was a good fighter. He wasn't a bad fighter, but he wasn't a world level fighter. And Michael Hunter Jr. is, in my opinion, better. There've been Floyd Mayweather. He's better than his father, definitely. But I think we're talking about the elite. Like, you look at Steve Collins and compare him to Steve Collins Jr. I mean, Jesus Christ. If Steve Collins Jr. is 8 years ago as Campbell Hatton, that's what he was. He was garbage. And he got on a few Frank Warren shows and he couldn't box to save his life. He's probably worse than he's worse than Campbell Hatton ever was. That's how bad Collins Jr. was. He was awful. How was it at the Joyce show being ringside? It's crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I was so happy with that. Like, honestly, like I said it once, I'll say it again. 4 years ago, I was at the Frampton, some other guy, I forget his name, was it Luke Jackson? And I was looking at like ringside and press row, like, oh, I'd love to be there. I was actually there. I was so happy. Hey, look who's in the chat. Big up, man. How are you, man? Not true. I just made a video praising Sky. Stop that talk. What we saying? Man. Big up to Ade. Nah, man. Big up to Ade. How are you, man? I hope you're well. I hope you're keeping good. And look, I think Sky, with this, I like the fact they got the fight over the line. And I think Michaela Myers versus Elise Baumgardner is a good fight. I got Baumgardner in that fight personally. I think that he's probably gonna stop him. And I think that obviously, I know Ade is a big fan of Shields. I know that he's also a big fan of Marshall as well. I can't help but think Marshall's gonna win. I think Marshall's definitely gonna win. But we'll wait and see. And of course, I'm in the building. Man, how are you, man? It's been a while. But I got my first taste of, sorry, I moved that a bit. Got my first taste of press life last week, and man, it was crazy. It was flipping crazy. I mean, like, something, I woke up, it was more kind of the next day, it kind of hit us like, hang on a sec, I was at that press conference, I was like, holy shit, that actually happened. It's crazy. And I met some of the guys from TalkSport who were there, and they were real good. They actually helped me out so much. There was like 2 guys from TalkSport who were doing the interviews. I was chatting with them, and yeah, they helped out big time. They actually helped me out, and I helped them out, because some of them were kind of like looking at like people like Mark Tibbs and all. I was like, why don't you ask him about this, that, and the other? And it's like, bingo. So yeah, it was crazy. It was good fun. It was real good fun. Arsenal back Makhmadayev, dangerous. That's what I'll say about him. He's one of them fighters who he's not mentioned too much, but he's not mentioned because he's a dangerous heavyweight. He is a big punching heavyweight who's getting rid of, Mariusz Wach, to put it in context, yes, he's been stopped a few times. He's never been down. And you could say, yeah, he's probably, and yeah, I'll admit it, he's probably regressed a bit in terms of punch resistance. But to put him down, damn, you're doing well. You got power there. A big up to Nate. Big up to you. Really enjoyed your interviews, G-Man. Worked really well. Mate, I was bricking at doing them interviews. Honestly, I was. But I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. And yeah, look, it was it's just experience. I'm sure the more you get used to it and the more I do it, the easier it will be, inevitably. Just repetition, the more you do it and the more you can kind of plan. But yeah, man, it's the craziest thing. It's just the craziest thing I've ever done was that. It was just so much fun. And like, again, I'm so happy I got the opportunity to do it. It's just, honestly, man, I'm still buzzing for it. I still have the pictures on my phone. I was showing people today and I was like, I can't believe I actually got to do it. It was just amazing. It was honestly like, oh man, like I can't actually describe how fun it was. It was just, yeah, man, it was brilliant. Man, it was fucking brilliant. But mate, I've gone for nearly an hour. I wanted to just do a quick one just before I read that, you came across really well. Joyce seemed comfortable with you. I got him to laugh. I got a laugh. I got a giggle out of Joe Joyce, and I got him to quote, what was it? Chris said it was Reggie Warrington something. I got a giggle out. I was delighted with myself. I thought I was like, I got a giggle. I got a laugh out of Joe Joyce. I'm doing something well. If I interviewed Frank Warren, maybe I would have got a smile out of him. The first time since 1998 he's ever smiled. I would have been the guy to do that. You know, Frank Warren, you can come back. That's kind of Frank Warren for you. You're not too bad. You know, maybe I would have got a smile out of Fish Ice. Who knows? But I big up to Ade every time. Shout out to Ade. Shout out to him. Ade is like, I look at Ade and what he's done, and I'm like, I'm getting there. You know, I'm getting there. You know, he did the same when he was in my position, when he was working at Islington. You know, he told me, you know, going to these shows. It's easier for him. He's in London. I'm not. But nevertheless, you gotta do it. You can't just wait for something to come to you. You gotta just get out and do it. You have to. You're never gonna come to you. You have to do it. So, yeah, big up to him. People, I'm gonna end this here. I had good fun. I just wanted to do the hour, get a bit of a chat in, and obviously I'll get some stuff ready for the next few days. So, people, for now, I'm gonna call it there. Peace. Oh, by the way, 100 in the chat. Smash the like button on the way out if you could, please. Haven't asked once. I'm asking now.